Well, hello everyone. Welcome to tonight's live stream. We are building an e-commerce site. This is episode 9. If you're just coming here for the first time or you're watching this in the future, you can pick up in this anywhere along along your journey. You don't have to have been with us from the very beginning. In fact, we kind of started over in episode 3 anyway. However, I will show you in a moment how to get the source code so that you can follow along from the last video and where to check the source code at the end of this video. So it's great seeing you guys here. Everyone's here, and I started early. Oh, it said 7 o'clock. What I've noticed is that, and the reason I start my live stream about 5 minutes early and just let music play is because I've noticed that people aren't getting their notifications right away. And so I want you guys to have the ability to get the reminder and for everyone to kind of get settled in for a few minutes before I just click start streaming and then start talking. So just gives everyone a chance to kind of get in, get settled, and start asking questions. Hello, Denise. Hello, Kaki and William and JJ, Zeus, Artur, is it? I didn't notice an H in your name before. Is it Author or is it Artur? Have I been saying it wrong this whole time? Hello, Khalil. It's good to see you guys. It's good to see so many familiar faces. And 2 a.m. Yeah, I know you guys. I know it's late and early and everything like that for you guys. So thank you. Thank you very much. I mean that from the bottom of my heart. Thank you for being here. It's 8 a.m. All right. That's not too bad. I'd like to wake. I wouldn't mind getting up and doing this at 8 a.m. in the morning. My brain is better off in the morning time. By the time I work all day and then come here and do this, I'm pretty fried by the time we start these things, to be honest. And by the time we end at 10 o'clock, when I go home, man, I'm just like wiped. I can't tell you what this does to me. So this has been a busy week. I haven't had a chance to really look over what we did last week or anything like that. So I'm kind of flying by the seat of my pants. Just give you guys a brief explanation as to why my life has been so busy this week. My wife and I celebrated our 9-year anniversary 2 days ago, and then yesterday was my youngest son's birthday. And other than that, I've been working on my car. It took me about 9 days after work and everything to fix my car. Had to do some substantial repairs on it, tearing the engine apart and getting in there and changing some timing chains and water pumps and all of this kind of stuff. So I don't have a professional garage or anything like that, so I just did it in my garage. And so my fingernails are all grease stained and like grease stained hands, so if I look dirty or whatever, it's because literally I've scrubbed my hands a million times, but I've just been working on my car for a week. But good news is I got it licensed today. It's legal. Everything's running great. All right, well, where we left off last week, we were working on brands and we didn't quite finish that up. And what I'd like to do tonight is, first of all, before we get too far, I just want to show everybody, just update everybody on the Bitbucket thing, just so we get that out of the way and I don't forget until it's like 2.5 hours in and be like, oh yeah. So if you're new here or you just need a reminder, if you go to Bitbucket/Parham Curtis and click on source here, what you're going to want to do is look for the episode. We are currently on episode 9. So you're going to grab the episode 8. We'll give you where we left off at the last video, and you can follow along with us. And then at the end of this video, I will push these changes to episode 9. And so if you want to check your work against what we do here, you can go ahead and do that. So it's Bitbucket, Parham Curtis, and then you're looking for, let me just show you that real quick. You're looking for the live e-commerce YouTube repository right here, live e-commerce YouTube course. Go ahead and click that and click on source, and then right here you can see the branches that are available. So you'll just basically clone this and then check out the appropriate branch. And so you guys can see kind of the evolution of what we've done since episode 3, which is where we restarted this series. Yeah, 9 years are not easy. My wife would probably relate a little bit more than me because I'm not an easy person to be married to. She's really easygoing and relaxed, and I'm uh, not. I am always on the move, and I'm very strongly opinionated, and so I'm probably hard to be married to. So everyone, everyone, give her a round of applause for putting up with me, not the other way around. Um, no, I have not had time to work on the docs. They are coming along nicely though, so I do hope to release those soon. I do need to get back on that. It's just I've been inundated with crap this week doing, working on my car and whatnot. So I had to have a way to get to work. But anyway, hopefully I've seen Artur has made several commits to the front end site. So hopefully, with that and me working on the documentation, we can get that stuff pushed public fairly soon. All right then. So we were working on brands, and kind of where we left off is, some basic CRUD operations for adding brands. We did not go in, which is going to be super simple to do. We didn't go in and add those yet. I forgot to turn my screen on when I was showing you guys the Bitbucket stuff. But forgive me, but I at least told you verbally. And I'll put a link in the description too. So sorry about that. But yeah, so essentially, what we're going to have to do is give the ability to add a brand to a product. So we just need to go back and update those forms. And then there's a little bit more validation we want to do, but super, super fast. And then what we want to do is get started on our products page. So we're going to pull all of our products from our database and start printing those out on the page. And then if we get to it, we get to do the details page as well, so that we can, if they click on a product, they can go in and see more details about it and see the more images. Probably going to do this similar to like Amazon or eBay, where you just have a listing on a home page of some featured products, and then eventually we'll add some filtering and some search to it, so that we can find some of that. And then I know I've gone back and watched what's my car. My car is a 2007 HHR, which is not a sexy car, but I bought it for $500 from my in-laws, and it has like 225,000 miles on it. But it runs like it's brand new now. And so I'm a frugal person. I don't believe getting myself in a lot of debt. So I don't go get car loans or anything like that. So I'd rather just buy whatever I can with cash, and then so that's why I have such an old car. Plus, again, I'm just not a flashy person. I wear these cheap hoodies that I buy really cheap. They hide my fat stomach. It's great. So yeah. So William asked about categories for products, and I was thinking about that actually a few minutes before we started the live stream, and I think we'll probably do some categories, but we're going to do those a little bit different. And the reason is because categories generally imply like one category per product, and I think that's okay. So we're building kind of a multi-vendor type, kind of like an eBay or an Amazon, where many sellers can sign up and put their products on and things like that. So I think what we should do is give like some very like system categories that they can choose to put their product in. But I think what's more powerful is the ability for them to create their own kind of like tags or slugs, or however you want to look at it, and they can assign a product to many of those tags or slugs, or however you want to look at it. You know what I mean? So we'll just call them tags or flags or whatever from now. And what that does is creates kind of a many-to-many relationship instead of a one-to-many, and that will allow people to find a product from multiple avenues. So however they think of it, if they think of it like, tools or whatever, it might be in that category or another. And so what I was thinking is we might use category as like a system thing that they can choose from, like big overarching categories that you can set up as a system admin, but allow the actual vendors to create their own flags or tags or something. So that was just my thoughts. But one thing I want to talk to you guys about before we get going is expectations. And I realized last week how disappointed I was in myself that we not only didn't get through my list of things I wanted to do, but we didn't get through even the first thing of creating the basic CRUD operations with brands. And we left it kind of in a weird place. And I started thinking about that, and although we only spent about 3 hours on it, I think this is kind of our industry, right? And I just wanted to share a little bit of something that I've learned with that I need to learn better, obviously, but I'd like to share something with you guys, and I think this might be helpful, especially for you freelancers out there. So the thing is we don't, and no one's gonna like to hear this. Not your clients, not your boss, not the business leaders or in the organization that you'll work for. But there's not a real way for us to give accurate estimates on how long something's going to take. There's a couple of reasons for that, especially in an agile environment where you're kind of building a system as you go and it hasn't been fully spec'd out ahead of time, which takes a tremendous amount of time in and of itself. So if you're going to try to give an accurate estimate or put together a bid, if you're a freelancer for a client, like, hey, I'm going to charge this much because I think it's going to take this amount of time, be careful. Because I think what you're going to find is everything you do is going to take way, way longer than you expected it to take. Maybe some of that has to do with experience, but a lot of it has to do with you don't know the complexities of the system or what it's going to take to pull something off until you get in there and really get going on it. And I think we all, as developers, kind of think things take a lot less time than they actually do. And so whether you're bidding a job or you're, telling your boss, like, hey, this is going to take me a week to do, just be careful about that and preface it with, give yourself some buffer. Figure out like what your gut instinct, like write everything down you ever estimate and keep track of it. And basically, as you go, say, hey, you know what? I thought this was going to take a week and it took me a month. And keep doing that, and eventually, you're going to see yourself getting a little bit better with estimates as you get more experience, but you will also start to see a trend. Like, man, I usually take 1.5 times or 2 times longer to do something than I originally thought it was going to take. And so when you do your estimates, put that buffer into it. So if I tell you guys, hey, we're going to get through with the products page today, and we're going to add categories and flags and all this stuff, I'm really talking out of my butt because I have no way of knowing that we're going to get that done in 3 hours because I haven't really sat down and worked through all the details of it. And if I did, it would take me longer to do that work than it actually is going to do to program it out. And so I just wanted to bring that up. So like when we miss the mark at these videos, I'm saying, hey, this is my goal. At the end of this video, we're going to get to here, and we don't. Well, that's real life. That's what it's like to be a developer. And you're going to have people constantly mad or disappointed in you. And also you're going to lose a lot of money if you don't start building buffer into your estimates. And so I don't know how far we're going to get tonight. Let's just be honest. We're going to get as far as we can. I want to keep this, I don't want to just plow through things. I want to make sure I take time to answer questions that you guys ask and explain things. So if you guys have any questions, you can interrupt me at any moment. If you have suggestions or ideas, bring them on. I'm not perfect, and especially at this time at night after I've already worked and programmed all day, I'm going to make silly mistakes. I have typos all the time. That's the way it is. So, guys, that's what this live thing's all about. So let's dive in, and I want to bring up something really, really quick. That's going to be a super quick fix on our validation. And there's been some confusion on this in the framework anyway. So let's jump in. Let me share my screen. All right. So what we've done is we have this brands section here, and when we add a new brand, we're checking for uniqueness, and this unique validator is checking that this brand name is unique. So you can't add 2 of them with the same name, okay? And the thing is since we're setting up this with multi-vendor, we need to take in consideration user ID. So we need to have the ability for every user to set up their own brand names, okay? Because we don't want to share those across the system because they get real messy real quick. We want users to create their own brand names that they're going to be using so that they don't have to manage all of them. They just manage what they want. All right, so in order to do this, it's very, very simple. I just didn't do it. So if you go to the models inside right here in the models, and we were looking at the brands model, and down here in the validator, we have a unique validator right here. And if you look at field, we're making sure that the field name is unique. And that is also making sure that within deleted, the deleted column, that is unique. So if they create one and then they later delete it and they try to create it again, it'll let them. That's what adding this deleted allows them to do, because it's going to be unique within deleted and name. But all we need to do to add user ID, to make sure that it's unique with users, is we just need to add user ID right here as the second element in this array. Because what it does is it builds out a query and it tries to find a matching row. So it says, hey, give me the name where, so for example, if we're trying to do Catan Studios again, it's going to build out a query and it's going to say, give me any row with the name of Catan Studios, the user ID of 1, and deleted of 0. Okay, that's what it's going to do. Well, based upon what the user ID and deleted is that's passed to. So this is the correct way to validate that unique thing right there. So we need to add user ID there. And the reason this wasn't here originally is because when I first built the model, we didn't do it by user ID. It was just going to be kind of a global thing. We changed our mind, or I changed my mind. You guys might think it's better to do it the other way. Just with my experience in this, I personally believe it's the right way to go to have it separate by user ID. And user ID will end up translating to vendor, by the way. So a vendor ID is going to be the same as a user ID. We'll probably give them more, some sort of profile information that they can fill out and give themselves like a display name and stuff like that. But, so now we have user ID, we can actually test this out. So right now, if I try to add a new brand name, and I'm just going to try to add Asmodee. I already have that brand, and I'm not handling this. Not handling this error yet. Let's see here. Admin brands controller. So we got an error actually here. Let me look at these headers. So weird how things work when you leave and come back and they don't work again. So response. Let's take a look at that. So it's complaining about on line 40 we're getting an error in our admin brand controller. So let's take a look at that real quick. So it's not making it here. Right. So this else is in the wrong place actually for this situation, because we're this would work if the brand already exists, because that's where the else is. So it's complaining right now because we don't actually have a response to pass into this JSON response because of the way this is set up. So this if statement logic is just a little wrong. So we need to keep this if statement and say, hey, if there's a brand, do this. Else do this. However, this right here, let's move that right here. And then what we'll do is we'll just kind of at the top of this, let's give this just a blank response. And we're just going to say success false, just in case it falls through all of that logic. So that'll work out fine there. All right, so that'll take care of this. Let's try that out. Right, so now what it says is we got a correct response back. It says that the name already exists. So this is what we expected to happen because I tried to add one that already exists. And so what we can do is change the user ID and then try to add this again. So I'm going to jump into the, let's jump into the database here, and I'm just going to manipulate this data just to do testing here. So we were going to try to add Asmodee, and it has a user ID of 1. So I'm going to edit this and add, I'm going to change that user ID to 2. And then now, if I go and save this, that is not working for some reason. Sometimes, what I've noticed, I'm using Vagrant right now. It takes a little bit for the code changes to actually come through, which is annoying. I still could have a problem here though, because this is taking, brand name already exists. Asmodee. That refresh shouldn't matter. Yeah, so there may actually be something wrong here, an error, maybe even in the framework. Let's take a look at that real quick. So this is happening. The way this is working is it's using the validator, the unique validator. So let's just take a look at that real quick. Let's see. Yeah, I didn't really need to reload because we were doing Ajax calls, so it should have picked it up. So I think there might be something weird going on here. So we're looking in this. It takes away. All right. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to dump and die and take a look at this. I want to make sure that my framework's correct, and I just let's see. So let's see, jump down. I'm going to jump right here, and I'm just going to, well, you know what? Let's do it here. Let's dump and die query params. And all right, so yeah. If field is an array, so it's not, it doesn't look like it's building out the rest of that query like I told you it was going to. So it is an array here. Let me check. I'm gonna do one more dump and die here. This is interesting. So it's, this is arrays. This ternary operator is like, well, so William says he thinks we should create a function that creates generate a unique ID because he doesn't like the next ID or the previous ID. The thing is with this is like all of our checks, we always include the logged in users IDs, so that they could like manipulate those IDs and like try to do something funky. But the only thing that'll ever work is they're going to be messing up their own data. So if they do that, So because we're basically have user ID on everything. So even if like they put a user ID and they're like, hey, I want to manipulate this brand and it's not theirs, the controller is going to catch that and not allow anything weird to happen there because we're always checking the logged in user's ID, and that's not coming from any sort of form submission or anything like that. So I don't really think it's necessary to create a function to generate those. I think it's best just to do auto increment. It just gives us better records in the database, and it's also more performant because of the way that the database builds up. Hello. So it's more performant the way the database builds up the index for that. So it makes those more, it just runs a lot faster. So I need to figure out why this field is not an array. So the one thing we need to do here is I'm just going to dump and die this, and this is going to show us a lot. So let's take a look at that. So field is just coming through his name. That is very interesting. Check one more time, make sure. So we're passing field as an array. I don't see any sort of typo there. So what should be happening is in this unique validator, this is array function should be loading field, just that. So let's take a look at that real quick. Before we get there, so our tour, the way it actually should work is if it's an array, it should be grabbing the first element of the array and setting that just to field as this parameter, and then what it does is unsets that, and then later it comes down here and it's like, hey, if it's an array, then do this. So what could be happening, oh yeah, all right, so I don't know how much time I want to spend on this on the live video, because I don't want to go through and spend too much time on the framework, fixing the framework stuff. So I'm going to look into this afterwards and fix it, and I'll let you guys know next week what it was. Just in the interest of time, I don't want to do this. So assume that works, because that's going to work. I must have, I must have something wrong in my logic here in this unique validator. Or not just that, it could be this custom validator that constructs this thing. So that's probably that issue. So I'm going to skip all of that for now. So let me just get rid of any dump and dies I have here. All right. So that's the nature of the beast. But this is the way that we want this to work, so I'm going to leave it, and I'm going to fix it, and I'll let you guys know what's up on that front. All right, so let me get back here. We'll ignore that for now, because that's not an error in our code probably. So I'm going to change this back so that it shows up on the front end. All right. So refresh and it should show back up. Okay, so we have that, and I guess it doesn't matter. I'll keep this here. So what I want to do now is, let's assume that this is all working correct, and I think it will once I fix the framework. But yeah, we'll figure it out. So if you look at products and you go to products and you click view, and then click edit, what we want to be able to do is add our brands to choose here in this as a drop down. Okay, so that's going to be super easy for us to do. We just need to grab the brands by ID and the name. We don't need to get everything. So I'm going to create a method to get that, and then we will use that method in our controller action to populate the select, and then we'll save that ID. It'll save that ID anyways, but let's just do that real quick. So what we need to do is let's check out our database here and look at products. So we have brand ID already set up. If you've run migrations or whatever, you have brand ID here, which is good. Right now, brand ID is always null, so we're going to fix that now. Let's go in and we want to change this form. So I guess we'll do the edit form first. So let's go to our admin products controller, and actually also maybe what we'll do is add a method in this brands model here to get all of them. So let's go ahead and do that. And that's going to be a static function because I want to just pass in the user ID into it. So what we'll do is we'll do a public static function, and let's just call this thing get brands for form or something. All right, and then it's going to take a user ID because we want to get all of those user IDs, and then we're going to say let's see, return. Let's just grab them all, and I want to return them in a very specific way. So what we're going to do is we'll just create a variable called brands, and we're going to do self find, and then here what we want to do is pass in the conditions. We're just going to say, let me scroll up a little bit here. So we want this conditions to be user ID is equal to, and then we're going to bind the value. So we'll use a question mark. We'll come down here. We'll create the bind. And then here what we want to do is we're going to pass in user ID as the first element in that array. And then the last thing I want to do is I want to order these things by name. All right, so that they're in order. And then what we want to do is let's build out maybe an options array. And then we're going to loop through, because we could do this with, I don't know, it's not going to hurt performance to loop through these. So what we're going to do is we're going to loop through all the brands. And this is going to be super simple. We're just going to then add that to the options array. And so what I think we should do is just, let's see, options array. And we're going to add an actual, we're just going to pass ID. You know what? I do this all the time for React. We don't actually have to do this. I think what we can do instead is just pass the columns right here. And in the columns, let's just do ID and name. Okay, let's see what that gives us. So, and we don't need to set this to anything. We can just return this. I was trying to format it a little bit so that the JSON can handle it better. Let's see. Let's see what we get. This might not work. So what we want to do is we're going to go to this page. So this is the admin products edit. So admin products, and then we go to the edit action, which is right here. And what I want to do is go ahead and grab, after we have the product set up, right here, I just want to set up brands. And here we're going to say brands get options for form, and we're going to pass in the user ID, and that's the current logged in user. So now that we have to tell it how to use this. So at the top here, we just need to add that to the use statement. So we'll say use app models brands. Okay. And then what I want to do is, just for now, what we're going to do is just dump and die brands so that we can see what we're getting back from the database. Get brands for form. Copy that real quick because I called it something else there. Should have called it options. That made more sense. Yeah. So I haven't updated the framework yet to handle. So basically what it's doing is it's only populating the ID and the name, which isn't saving us much as far as a return to the front end. So, but we'll leave it for now, and then later I'll probably update that so that it doesn't return us an entire object. I don't think that's necessary. So, but it works. So now we can actually build out our select. So in order to do that, it's super, super easy. And actually, I'm going to move this, I think, just down here to the bottom of this action. And the reason I'm doing that is because we don't really need to do any further processing on that in the controller. So we just say this view, and we're going to pass that right down into the view. Okay, so this view brands, and then we're passing brands into that. So now that the view has access to this, we can actually just use this object to generate our select box. So let's go ahead and open up that view. So in admin products, edit, and right here in the form, gotta kind of decide where we want to put this thing. But I think let me take a look at something real quick. This is probably why I wanted to. Options for select. This is why I wanted to do the additional. Yeah, this is why I wanted to do the additional stuff, is so we can use this select block. So we'll go ahead and do that. That's not a big deal. So we're going to use this, but first we need to update this. And I am going to change this get options for form because that makes more sense than brands, because we're already in the brands method or model. So again, we'll go ahead and do it this way. And this is super simple because all we need to do is create a brands array, and then we'll do a for each brands as brand, and then all we're going to do here is say brands array, and then the key is actually going to be brand ID, and then we're going to set that equal to brand name. And what this is going to do is generate basically an ID, like a key value pair that we can use in that function for the select block. All right, so let's just return that now. All right. Okay, so that should work. And now brands is going to be that. So we'll jump in here to the edit form, and I think we should put brand probably line 101. Forgot to remove this. And now we have to change this because we changed the name of that method, which I like this name better. It fits better. All right, so let's see, where did I call that? Down here. There we go. Just a little clean up. So I think, let's see, name, price, list, shipping. Going to kind of break our layout a little bit. Not a big deal because we're probably going to end up adding a lot of stuff like, you know, like you guys were talking about earlier, like category and tags and flags and things like that. So I think I'm going to add it just underneath here, and we'll start building out, or maybe a second row here, and we'll just build it above the body. Yeah, that's what I'll do. So let's go back here to the edit form, and let's see, we have right here is where I want to put it. So we're going to do the form helper, and this was the select block. Okay. And if we look at that for reference, just to get the parameters, we need a label, name, value. So that's label for this is going to just be brand. And then the name for this, it actually needs to be brand underscore ID, because that's what it's saved as in the database. And then, let's see. So is brand name value. So this one's easy. That's this product and brand ID. All right, and then what we need to pass in are the options. So remember, we pass these down to the view, so we can just say this brands. All right, and then the next up is just the input and the div attributes and errors. So we'll give this thing a class of form control, input small, and then we'll give the div a class of form group. And we'll do, I think 2 is fine for that. And then the last thing we need to do is pass in our display errors. So we'll say this display errors. All right. So let's refresh. So now we have our brands listed out in a select box here. The problem with this is we just need an empty one, because right now it's saying that the brand is going to be Asmodee, which isn't correct, because the value currently, because we haven't saved this, is null. So we need an empty option at the top in order to do that. So we just need to go back to our brands here, and in here what we're going to do is just give this an empty thing here, and maybe what we'll do is say select brand, something like that, and then it'll actually add on to that array. So now if I refresh, it says select brand, and this empty option is actually null. And we could take a look at that in the inspector. So if you look at our select here, we can see all of our options. This one right here has a value of null. So if that gets passed back to the back end, it's going to set that back to null. So that's kind of what we want. Otherwise, you can see that these are in alphabetical order, and they are the value of these are actually the IDs. Okay, so we can just save this right out, and it should just work. So let me select this. This one was Catan Studios. Hit save. And we go back to that. It should have that stored, and it does not. So there's a problem there. Let's take a look, see what happened. So it did store brand ID as 3. So it saved it. So we must have an issue. You take a look here. So there's two things to look at that this could possibly why that's not populated there, because that should have already worked. And it did. The save works. The problem is if we save it again, it's going to break it. So let's look at what could be going on. First, let's double check our function. Value. And then edit. This product brand ID. Let's take a look at our product now. And that will be right here. So I'm just going to throw a dump and die here, because we want to take a look at the entire product object, which is for some reason hard to say, and see what's going on. So we can see our object here. I know what the problem is. So it actually isn't in this this object, and that's a very easy fix. The reason it is because after we did our database migration, we did not add. If you go to models and go to products, we did not add a property here for brand ID. So right here, I think right before featured, we just need to add brand underscore ID. Now when I refresh this, it should have username, price list, shipping, body feature deleted. There it goes. There you saw that that delay. That has to do with Vagrant. Vagrant is actually syncing my local files to the server through NFS, and sometimes there's a delay, so it looked like it wasn't working for a second. I just needed to give it a few more seconds and refresh again, and it worked. But now you can see we have brand ID. So now if I get rid of that dump and die, it's actually going to work. Okay. So I don't think it's a problem with our code. It was just we didn't add that property to our model. Okay, so our models have to have each one of our properties present. Now if I refresh, and damn it, it's still not working. Let me take a look. So look at the select block. Let's just see here what it's telling us. this is. So if I do H dump and die here, let's just take a look at the value that's being passed into this. Probably need the, yeah, I need to add temporarily so that we can see this. That's only going to work because we only, that's the first select box on the page. There he goes, my page isn't, come on. Did I add that in the wrong place? No. Select box. There we go. So it is passing it in. It's right here. This right here is that dump and die. So it's getting that value. So the value is correct. So our object's correct. Let's see. Select ID name value. Refresh. Come on. Man, Vagrant is usually not this much of a lag. Oh, wait a minute. The ID I usually use has a autosave feature, so sometimes I forget to save. Alright, so if you look at the select here, let's just make sure it does have the value set to 3. Wow, I don't... Am I just insane? Three, so it should be selecting this. Yeah, I don't understand what's going on. Maybe you guys can see something. Oops. If we look at this, unless I have a weird HTML issue, but if you look at the select here, brand ID value is 3 for the select, and if you look at the options, the value is 3. I'm not sure why it's not selecting that. Coder 2100, good night. The select block cannot pop up the value from the database. That's bizarre, that should work. I do this all the time. Let me think for a second. What may be happening is kind of an order of operations thing. So what could possibly be happening is, no, that doesn't make any sense. I was thinking maybe the DOM elements printed before the values actually updated. But let me just try something here. If I populate this to 7, I feel crazy right now. Like this is working for an input. All of our inputs are populated. But for some reason this select isn't. Let me check another browser, because this, I wonder if this is an issue with Chrome or something. Every now and then that happens. All right, let's try it out. Interesting. So it's not browser related. But I do this all the time, but I usually do it with React. And so what I do with React is it's set to like an observable, and when that observable changes, it re-renders the DOM element. And so what I'm wondering if there's some sort of like browser security, because I can't even change it. Like I can change a regular input, but I can't change a select by changing the value here. Just directly inside the thing here. If I try to change this to 6, that should update this selected value. So let's check it out. Select value not working. Autocomplete off. I don't think that's probably the problem, but well, Artur, I must have an issue there. If you're not, I know that I could just be like stupid because I haven't worked with regular HTML in a long time. So it really could be that this value doesn't work. I might have to actually add that selected equals selected thing inside the option. So yeah, see you next week, JJ. You guys are all bailing on me tonight. What happened? You guys should go to bed super early and wake up to do these things so you don't have to stay up late. Go to bed early, get up early. But I understand, guys. If you got to bounce, you got to bounce. So yeah, let's just try something else. Let's try this. I'm gonna try selected. And that worked. Okay. So so what we'll need to do then is we'll need to update this options for select thing, and we'll need to pass in the value to this. So this won't be a hard issue at all to solve. So might as well get rid of this if that's not working. So I trust Artur here. Let's see. All right, so in our options for select, let's see, come down here, and we're going to say we need to add this sep val here. Maybe get a more descriptive name. So selected value. So what we want to do here is we want to say we're going to create, I don't know, selected string or something, and we'll set that to a ternary. And what we want to do is we want to see if value is equal to selected value, and if that's true, then we're going to add a space, and we'll say selected equals selected. Else it's just going to be, we're going to return a blank string. And then what we're going to do is we're going to actually break out here and concatenate on this selected string. Alright, let's refresh, and that works. Okay, so that just boiled down to me being really dumb. I'm gonna be honest with you guys, I very rarely work with straight HTML anymore. So React and these JavaScript frameworks are ruining me. I just usually just add a value into those things and they work with React. Wow. So good catch, Artur, good catch. Zombie coders. Alright, that's funny. Okay, so now this should work. So let's just double check it real quick. Mayfair Games, select, let's go back. Yep, we're in good shape now, so this is working. I'm gonna go ahead and select the correct brands for these other two. So Agricola, man, I can't remember if that was, I think that's the Mayfair Games, I believe. And Splendor, I believe, was Asmodee. I can check that really, well, I'm not gonna check it, it doesn't even matter. So now we have inside of our brands, these things have, I'm gonna give that a little bit more width there, but we have these, the ability now to go ahead and select a brand and save it. Okay, so let's see, we've done that, and I think, let me just change that real quick before I forget. So here, I'm just going to give this, instead of all medium 2, let's just do a 3 here. And of course that'll take a few refreshes to update, because it seems like my Vagrant box is, the syncing of it is just blazingly slow tonight, which is unfortunate. Oh well, that'll update at some point. All right, so the next thing we need to do is we need to actually do the same thing for the ad. Admin products form. Let's just copy that over to the form.php. And this is going to be super simple because back in our admin products controller, let's just run down here and grab this. And then on the add action, we just need to add it right here. So let's test that. Go to products, we'll go to add product. Got a problem here. So we just do this, current user, there we go. So now when we're adding a product, we can choose from our current brands. I think I should move back to Apache. Well, in this situation, it doesn't matter if it's Apache or Nginx. This situation is just because I'm running on Vagrant, so I can move back to XAMPP on the Linux machine. That's fine. Doesn't matter. The reason I'm actually using Vagrant right now is because I like being able to SSH into the server. But again, most of you guys aren't using Vagrant anyway, so I mainly did this because I had some people comment and ask, because they were trying to use the framework with Nginx and they didn't think it would work with Nginx because they didn't understand the htaccess and the config file stuff. So I just got it up and running so that I knew how to do it so I could help them. And honestly, I just kind of stayed with it. Because I actually don't use this computer that I do my live streams on a day-to-day basis. It actually only gets fired up on Tuesdays. So I haven't had much time to like go through and change anything between episodes. Honestly, like a few hours before this thing starts, I set up this whole area and the lighting and everything, and then I tear it all down at the end because I don't have my own space to do these. My church is actually allowing me to use a room here in the building for free to do this, and using the internet for free. So they're helping me out with that. I don't really think this is a browser cache issue, but it could be. No, it's not. I think this is more of a I could have changed the wrong one maybe. I did. I changed the wrong freaking oh boy. That's funny. All right. Well, sometimes I surprise myself with how stupid I am. It makes me happy that I can do this for a living, even though I'm so dumb. Because it's a struggle for me. You guys will look at this stuff and like, oh, this is so easy. But I just add stupid stuff here. All right, so that looks better. Now we can have like 3 of these things across here. So we'll add to this as we go. We'll probably do some sort of multi-select thing for flags or something. But I don't want to get too carried away with all this because I really want to get soon. I want to get into the meat of actually building our shopping cart and doing the payment gateways and stuff, because I think that's probably the more exciting part of this project. Doing all this like redundant CRUD operation stuff is getting old already. So you guys might be getting something out of it, but it bores me to tears. And it reminds me of how much I don't use stuff like HTML. All right. So now that we've done that, let's go ahead and I'm just going to close a lot of this stuff, even though I'm going to open some of it back up. Just go through here and clean up these files. And I think what we should do now is start working on our home page for our actual site, so that we can start grabbing all these products and throwing them on the home page. And what we want to do is the home page, I think, should only show the featured products, because we have this little featured toggle here. And that's what that's going to mean. So if they're featured, they're going to be on the home page. If not, you just get to them by searching or navigating in some way. You'll be able to see them. But just on the home page, it'll be featured. Maybe we'll do some sort of randomizer thing where it's different featured products each time you load the page or something. Something like that. So let's get going on that. I'm going to go ahead and click Visit Site. And we're no longer in the admin portal. We're back on the front end of our site. And right here where it just says, welcome to Ruah MVC Framework, we want to replace all of this with our featured products so that people can start adding these to a shopping cart. So let's go ahead now. And I got some reference pulled up here. I have Amazon and eBay pulled up. And it looks like Amazon kind of does a card type thing. Now they just have a border on the bottom, and our Bootstrap will probably just have a border all the way around. But they're just doing an image and then some information. Basically, they have the name and then buy and then the brand right here. They have a rating system, which we're not to yet. And then they have their price and their list price here next to it. And then they have shipping information, and that's it. But what I want to do is probably do something where, and then eBay is similar in layout, except for it's laid out more like a, you know, kind of like a table instead of some cards. I think we'll use the cards for ours. I just think it looks a little nicer. And then we'll probably make it to where they can click on the image or on the name of it to take them to the details page to show more information about it. But we're also going to add a button that just says add to cart right from here. Okay, so let's get going with that. This is going to be fairly easy. So let's start off with just getting the data that we need. So our home page, the home page is actually going to be home controller, and it's in the index action. Okay, so this is where we're going to be working to add this. And so we're going to need our products. So at the top here, I'm just going to say use, I always type user, use core and app models, and then products. Okay. Yeah, we'll take a look at mobile stuff. You know, we can definitely, you know, we can definitely try to make this as mobile friendly as we can. I'm not going to spend a bunch of time on it, but absolutely, my thoughts are, since we're going to use these cards, maybe we'll set them to like less than 300 pixels so that the smallest phones will show one card width, and we'll use like Flexbox or something so that depending on the width of the screen, it'll add more and more cards, and then they'll just jump down to the next line. So yeah, well, that's what we'll do to make that mobile friendly. It should already be a situation where our, yeah, so our menu is already mobile friendly here. So that's good to go, and we can just kind of resize this. It looks like it jumps up around 990. What is that? Looks like it changes at like 992 or something. Yeah, 992, which is a common breakpoint. So Denise asks if soon we add a product to our shopping cart. She's asking if PHP has a function that suggests other products, or it's going to require another language like Python. That's not really a question of programming language. PHP is not going to have something that just suggests. The way that actually works is these big stores like Amazon and stuff like that, they actually have, you know, big development staffs, and what they've done is they have tracked every product that's been purchased. Okay, and what they do is they kind of start correlating between, like, hey, if this person bought this, what did they buy next? What did they look at next? What are the other things that they searched for and clicked into? And they start tracking that in tables. And from that data, they're able to statistically pull up other products on their platform that says, hey, this is a similar product to this, or a related product. And so it's not a programming language. It's more of like a situation where they are they're basically building that out, and we can do a similar thing. What we could do is, if they add it to the shopping cart, we can try to do something like, I don't know, show, I don't know yet. we're not going to have the resources or the time to build out something as sophisticated as like Amazon or something, but we could do something where other products by this seller or other products by this brand or something like that, and display similar items in their shopping cart that are similar to what they already have based upon the seller or something like that. And I know eBay does that. Like it'll have like other products by this seller, and it'll show a few other products. So we can do some stuff like that. I don't know. I can't promise we'll get to that, but that's not a Denise. That's not a programming language thing. That's more of like a smart developer thing, is setting up systems in order to be able to do that. So maybe we'll try to get to something with that, but let's get going on this for now. We want to get the basic functionality and then add to it. So on Bootstrap, they have this card thing here that's pretty much the layout that I want. It has a place for an image right here. We'll put our title. We can maybe do some sort of text. Well, our text for our price and everything go here. And this could be like the add to cart button, okay? And we could style it a little different and change it around a little bit, but for the most part, what I want to do is let's add a wrapper div so that we can make this thing mobile responsive. So I'm going to go to our index. So if you go to views, we'll go to home and index. This right here is what we have. And what I want to do is add a div right here. And actually, I think this home page is going to have a left sidebar that we can filter eventually, and then also a main section. But for now, we'll just worry about this main section. We'll make it full width, and then when we get to the other stuff, we'll add it in. So I think what I want to do here is let's just create a div called main. And whoops. Create a div called main div here, and what we'll do is we're going to give this thing a class, and we'll call it products wrapper. And then within this, let's just go ahead and put our first product here. So I'm going to grab this stuff just directly from Bootstrap. Okay. Let's see. What the heck is there? I don't know why I messed up my indentation. I thought they had a I'm in the wrong place. I thought they had an auto indent thing in Atom. I don't know how I'm missing it here. The heck? Oh, here it is. There we go. Fixed it. Okay. So we'll do some styling and stuff like that a little bit, but let's just see what we have here. Make sure this works. All right. So we have a card here. Don't have our image yet. Not a big deal. Let's see. That's because this is just ... But we'll add an image. Let's go ahead and work on getting our products from the database, and then we'll take this card and we will swap out all this stuff with what we want here. So right here in the index action, let's go ahead and build out our products. So we'll say products is equal to products, and then let's just create a method, and let's just call it, I don't know, get, or let's just call it featured products. All right, let's go now to our products model. And let's add that in. This is going to be fairly straightforward for now, but this is going to get a little complex. So this was called featured products, and that was a static method. Right on. And now it didn't take any arguments or parameters there. So what we're going to do is let's just start building out our conditions. And then we'll return self find. And we're going to pass conditions into that. So here for the conditions, right now, this is going to be very simple. We're going to have to do some joins here to get our image. But anyhow, let's do conditions, and then we're going to say featured equal to 1. And then the thing is well, for now I don't care, because we're gonna have to do some stuff with pagination and some other stuff, but let's just get the basics going here. And so let's go back here to our home here, and I want to actually just take a look at what we get back. So we'll say use core H, and then right here we're just going to do H D&D products. And you have to add, it's not core app, it's just app models. Typo on my part. Alright, so now we have an array of 3 products, and that is because all of our products are actually featured at this moment. So if I wanted to just kind of test that out, let's take away Agricola. You know what, let's take away Splendor, and we'll make that not featured, and make sure that we're only getting back 2 items in our array, and we are. So that's working fine. So this is only going to be featured items. So come back here now, and I'm gonna put that back. Okay. So the next thing that we want to do is we need to join on and get our first, we need to get our image for each one of these. And so I want to talk a little bit before we move on why we're going to have to do a little bit of complexity here, and it might take a little bit to figure out how to get this right. And it's because the first thing that we might want to do is we might think, let's just do a separate database call. Let's create a method inside of our admin products model and then do a database call to get our images. The problem with that is we don't know how many images are going to be on here yet. So what will end up happening is instead of making a couple database calls each time the page loads, we're going to end up making a lot of them, because inside of the loop we'll have a loop, and we're going to say, hey, find me all these products that are featured, and then we'll say loop through those and find me all of the images. Well, if we do that, it's going to have to make a database call for every product. Okay, so let's say we end up, and this homepage probably won't have this, but let's say we had, 100, 200, or even 1,000 products on this page, and we would paginate it to keep that from happening. And I'm exaggerating a little bit, but we would end up with 1,000 extra database calls. So instead, what we want to do is we want to figure out how we can do the least amount of database calls that we can do to get our products and join onto our tables to get the information that we need just for this page. Okay, and I think the only information we're going to need for this page is we're going to need 1 image per product, for the home page. Now, when they click into that, that's a different story because then we can do one database call to get the product, and we can do one database call to get all the images within the product details page. That's not a problem. The problem comes in when we're trying to list out a bunch of products and we want to have a database call, or we don't want to make a database call for each product is what I'm saying. And so we will create a method, probably get product images, that we'll end up using, but we don't want to use that when we're getting a list of products, okay? So keep that in mind. We want to use joins instead. All right, so let's take a look and see if we can figure out how to make this join work without doing a raw SQL statement. And it might have to come to that. If it gets too complex, we'll end up doing a raw SQL, which will be faster anyway, okay? So it's not a big deal, and it might help you learn it anyway. But let's just see what we can do here. So let's go to the products now, and we have this featured products. And so what I want to do is I'm going to open up core model. I think it's here, or it might be in DB, because I have added joins into this to where we can add some joins. Yeah. Yep. And so let's see here. Go down to build join and just take a look at this real quick. I'll refresh my memory. This is why I need my documentation. All right, so the first join is the table, second join is the condition, the third here is the alias, and then the type of join. So we'll have join like inner, left, or whatever join on table, an alias on this condition. All right, so I just have that open for reference. And so what we can do is here in our products thing, we're going to add a new thing here called columns. Okay, and here what we're going to do is we're going to say, hey, get me let's see. So I'm going to say get products dot star, and then the next column that I want is we only need in our database. The thing is, we want to get as little information returned as we need. So if we look at the product images table, the only thing we actually need is this URL returned as a column. Now we're going to pass in some stuff to kind of get the first one by sort order because we want the lowest one. I'm not showing you guys my screen. Dang it. Sorry about that, guys. I need a producer or something to take care of that stuff because I never remember to do that. All right, so here we go. So Benny says this feels a lot like MySQL, and I don't even understand MySQL. This is MySQL. That's the database we're using, but have no fear because it's easy. MySQL is actually very, very easy. It's very the language it used to query the database is very very easy. So all right, so now what we're going to do here is what we wanted to do is get, what was that table called? Oh, so you guys didn't even get to see this. So we're in our product images table, and we want to get the URL. Okay, so this is the only thing we care about right now. So we're going to go ahead and get that. So we're going to say products or product images dot URL. Yep. So that's all we need there. We're going to get everything, and then this, what we'll do here is we'll put as URL. Okay. And that just creates an alias for this so that we can use URL here. The next thing we need to do is we need to set up our joins. for this. And like I said, guys, just hang with me. I know this is going to get, for some of you who are new, this is going to feel a little overwhelming. Don't let it, because I'm going to explain it. But we need to get it working first, and then I'll slow down. You guys can ask whatever questions you want. But now we need to go ahead and do this join here. And so this join's going to get a little weird. And again, we might end up writing a custom query in order to pull this off. But let's try it like this first. So joins, this is a list. It sends a list of arrays for each join that we want to do. So the first join, if we look at our database, the first join was the table that we're joining. Okay, so in this case, it's going to be product images. All right, so I'm going slow, I know, but product images. The next element of this array was going to be, we actually need to get the condition. Okay, so now we tell it how these two things are connected. Well, let's look at it. In the product images table, the product images have a product ID. Okay, the product ID is going to be equal to the ID inside the products table. That's how we're relating. This is called a related table. This is how we're relating between the products and the product images. We're storing on the product images a product ID that relates to this ID here. Okay, so all we need to do there is we need to tell it, we just need to tell it, hey, products dot ID is going to equal product images dot product ID. So let's double check that. Yep, product ID. So that is what connects these two. Okay. The next thing that we want to do is we need to tell it, okay, is there an alias on this table? Well, product images is pretty long, so we can actually give this thing an alias, right? So the way that we can do that is, I'm just going to call this PI, okay, it's for product images. So now I can replace this product images right here with PI. I can also replace up here in columns, I think I can do this, I should be able to do this. I can replace this with PI.URL, okay, so it looks a little easier to read. The last thing that we want to do is, we might want to set this as a left join. So I don't know if you guys understand the difference between inner join, left join, or right join, and those things. If you don't understand that, go ahead and throw a question mark or something in the chat box, and I'll try to explain briefly. But essentially, all you have to do is imagine your first table that you're choosing, which is in our case products, is going to be what's considered a left table. And then everything that we join on that will be the right table. So an inner join finds so we're saying, hey, products.id is equal to product images.product.id. Well, an inner join is only going to return rows that have both of those set. Okay, so there may be a row in this table, but there may not be a row in this table, in which case it wouldn't return anything. But an inner join would be like, if this product has an image, it returns it. But a left join is going to say, hey, get me all the products, and also if they exist, get me the images. Okay, and that is kind of the difference between a left join and an inner join. And I know that's kind of a crappy explanation, but if you guys are still confused, I'll try to go through it a little more. So I'm just going to leave this as an inner join because I actually don't want products to show up that don't have images. Okay, so I'm going to leave that as an inner join. So let's just see if that worked, and it may not. Again, right. So the reason this isn't working is because our column deleted is ambiguous, and the reason that's happening, so what's happening is our model makes a call, it builds out our SQL statement for us, okay? And it says, hey, the SQL statement, it automatically adds deleted equals into the condition. So our find statement is automatically excluding rows that are soft deleted, meaning they have a 1 in the deleted column, okay? So don't let that confuse you. They're not really deleted. They're rows in the database. We're keeping them there. We just don't want them to show up. So we use the find method. So I think what I want to do here in this case, because I don't want to confuse you guys too much with the framework, is it'll be much more performant anyway. We're just going to build a MySQL query statement up from scratch, and it's going to be super easy, and it will return this the way that we want, okay? So William threw a question mark, assuming because he wants to know more about the inner join and left join. So let me go ahead and jump to my webcam real quick, and bear with me if you understand this already, guys, but I just want to make sure that we're not leaving anybody in the dark here. Okay, so imagine you have two tables in your database, and which we do, so we can show that easily. We have our products table with a bunch of rows of products. And then in our separate table, we have our product images, and we could have many product images for each one product. So it's a one-to-many relationship. And the way that those two are related, the way that we tell the system that this is related is with a key. Now every product has an ID in the database. They're assigned an auto increment ID, and that happens for both tables. But the problem is on the other table, we need to tell it, hey, these are related somehow, and they're related with the ID. So we put a column in the product images table called product ID. Product ID is associated to or tied to or referencing the ID in the products table. So you have two tables, your left table and your right table. So if that makes sense, just imagine you have a table drawn out here and a table drawn out here. And you're asking the system, hey, get me all the products. So it goes to this table and it just gets out all the products. Now we say, okay, well, that's useful, but I also want to get all the images that are related to those products. So we try to do it in one query statement, and we say, hey, get me all the products that have this product ID. So it goes through it and gets you all the products, and each one of those products have an ID, and it joins onto this other table, and it adds a row for each one of those entries. So if I had 3 products or product images for this one product, it would create 3 rows, it would return 3 rows, and they would be the same except for they would have different information from the right table. Okay, so an inner join, it will get only the results back from these two tables that have a correlation between the two tables. So if you draw 2 circles, I wish I had a big pad of paper. Hang on, I'm gonna grab a piece of paper real quick. All right, so if I had, let me just draw this out real quick. I wish I had a thing, but if I had 2 tables, so let me show you, each one of these circles represents a table. We have our left and our right, okay? And this over here is our products, and this over here is our product images. And an inner join is only going to find the intersection of those 2 tables, and it's only going to return these rows that have both. Okay, so that is an inner join. Okay, it's only going to get this stuff right here in these 2 tables. All right, now a left join is a little bit different, because a left join says, look, this is my products table, and I want to make sure that my products are all returned, because I may want to list all of my products regardless if they have an image related to them or not. So what it's going to do is this join will go out and it's going to get all my products, and it'll add a row for each one of those products even if there's not a product image over here. So a left join is getting all of these and then joining onto that table these product images. So that's a left join. A right join is the exact same as a left join, except for it says, hey, give me all the product images, even if there's no product, which that can happen just through bad data integrity, but it could happen other ways as well. So those are the three types, and mainly the two that you'll use the most is the inner join, okay, and the left join, okay. So I know that if you don't have a lot of experience with databases, you still may be a little bit left scratching your head saying, I still don't understand. But just keep that in mind, those two diagrams I made, because it's going to make sense as we build it and as we look at why didn't this return this data set. Because we're probably going to get to a place at some point where we need to use a left join, and then I'll kind of go through and we'll show the difference between an inner and a left join. Okay? And in this case, I've chosen to use an inner join because, and this could just be a personal preference, but I don't really want products showing on the home page that don't have an image. I don't think that's going to be, it's not going to be appealing. And so even if they choose featured, but they didn't bother to add a product image, I don't want it on my home page. So I've chosen consciously to use an inner join in this situation. Okay, so I hope that helps. I know that's kind of a small tangent, but this is exactly why I love doing these live streams, is because you guys get to ask questions and maybe you didn't understand, and hopefully, and I don't think in a short period of time I can completely explain these joins to you, but I hope to give you little tidbits that will shine a little bit of light, and then later when you start using it, that little bit of light will illuminate enough for you to expand your knowledge in your mind, and more lights will come on, okay? That's my goal here. Just give you a pinpoint of light that'll grow into a fully well-rounded explanation, okay? So let's go and let's go ahead now and build out what this would look like, okay? So we don't even need to do this in the editor. We can actually do this, I believe, directly here with this SQL command. Okay, so I'm going to show you guys how we can build this out. So with the left join, we're going to select as our left tables. We're going to say, or I'm sorry, we're just going to do an inner join, but our left table, even on an inner join, is going to be products. So first thing we do is tell it our columns that we want. So the columns that we want is we want to get products dot star, which means I want every column in products, okay? And we can tell it I want to go ahead and get all product images, but I only want the URL. So what we're going to do here is just say, and for now I'm just going to put PI for product images, dot URL as URL, okay? And I'm going to show you exactly how this is going to work, okay? So don't let this confuse you yet, okay? So I'm going to jump down to another line to keep this kind of cleaned up. This is the way a join works. So select products.star and then pi.url as URL. The next thing that I want to do is I want to say, hey, only show me stuff that has products.featured equal to 1. So I'm going to actually skip down a line here, and I'm just going to put where products.featured is equal to 1. Okay? Now, in order for us to get those two things from two separate tables, I'm sorry here. So this is from products. So this tells us what our left table is, the from products, okay? And it doesn't matter, but I'm going to go ahead and capitalize that. Select products.star, pi dot, which is going to be product images, dot URL as URL. From products. Now, we need to tell it how these relationships work. So, what we're going to do here is we're going to say join, and then we tell it the table, product images, okay? And then I'm just going to put PI there. So join product images PI. And then we need to tell it how those are joined. Okay, yep, you're correct, Artur. We will do that as well. So join product images, and then we're giving it this alias. This PI right here is basically creating an alias for this table name product images so that we can use it, just so we don't have to write product images out everywhere we need to use it here. All right, the next thing that we want to do is we want to say join product images PI, and then we tell it on, and this gives it a condition. This is so that the query state, the database knows how these things are related. So this tells them how it's related. So we just say products.id is equal to productimages.productID. Okay, so this right here is the condition that joins these things together. So let's go ahead and execute this, and I have forgotten the S right there. So now let's look at what we have here. I executed this query and it returns 10 rows, and you can see each row, each product here is duplicated on its own row for each image that it has. This is because this is how joins work. In some ways this is great, in some ways this is super annoying, okay? But if you'll notice down here, first of all, I said get me all of the products table. So that was products.star right here. That adds all of this stuff up to the deleted. Then I didn't want anything else besides the URL from the other table, so I told it give me productimages.url as URL. And what that does is that adds another column called the URL here, okay? So now we want to make sure that all the deleted fields are also 0. So we can just say, right here we're going to say and products.deleted is equal to 0, okay? So go ahead and execute again. And when we do that, of course, we didn't have any that were deleted. Now, the reason that we had this error here, if you look at this closely, is it says the column deleted is ambiguous. Why is it ambiguous? Well, it's ambiguous, which means it doesn't know what deleted we're talking about, because we have a deleted column in our product images table and in our products. So we'll get the same thing here. Whoops. No. Man. That's really sucks. So I won't make that mistake again. Let me just quickly write this out again. Yeah, I don't think I can control Z here. I'm not gonna try right now because it'll get rid of this stuff. But I screwed up and clicked a link. So I don't think it saves that, but I'm gonna save this, so don't worry about that. So this will be where products, so don't let this distract you. So where products dot featured is equal to 1 and products dot deleted is equal to 0. All right, so we're back here. What I wanted to show you guys, and let me copy that so I don't lose it again. So what I wanted to show you guys is if I deleted that products dot here, this is going to have that same issue where this is ambiguous. So it says column deleted in where clause is ambiguous because it doesn't know if we're talking about the product images dot deleted or if we're talking about the products dot deleted. So we just need to make sure that we tell it what table we're talking about when the column names are the same across both tables. So products dot deleted, okay? So execute that. Now, what we want to do is we want to do a little bit of magic here because I only want one. I don't want, right now, for this particular situation, I don't want a row for each image. So if we look here, back at the data, we have these sort orders, and I want to sort it by the sort order here. I want to get the order by sort, and I want to get the first one. So we're going to limit this, okay? So let's go back here to our SQL command, and let's add a little bit more here. And I'm just going to say order, and we're going to say pi dot sort, and then we'll do, now this is, we're going to have to do a subquery probably here because it's not going to work to do limit one. But first we can just try this. So pi dot sort. This is actually, sorry, this is actually order by. Okay, so now, well, you can't see it because we didn't add it, but let me add that as well. So I'm going to add pi dot sort here just so we can see it in our list. Execute that, and now if we look over here, we have this sort column, and you can see that it's throwing all of the zeros up here first. Okay, now we really just want to get one per thing, so we can actually, let's try it this way first. We can say group by product. Well, we can't be ambiguous, so we're going to say, well, we don't have to, we just say product ID. Execute that. Order by, maybe it's not group by, maybe it's just group. What am I doing wrong there? Let me look that up. MySQL group by. It is group by, but I had a problem with my so it is group by. I think the problem is you can't do order by and group by like this. So let me just try that real quick. Select list is not grouped by clause and contains non-aggregated column. Well, we could just, in this case, no, we can't. All right, so we're gonna do a subquery. Probably gonna have to do this anyway, regardless. It gets really weird when you start doing order bys and group bys. And I don't want to confuse you guys anymore. So let's try to do a subquery here. So what I want to do is right here where we say join. Instead of that, we're going to run. We're going to put some parens here. I think you can do it like this. So here, let me see. Yeah. So this join, we're gonna do inside here. We're gonna say select We only need to select select ID from product images, and then where. No, we don't need to do that. Here we're just going to say order by sort, and then limit 1. Okay. As I. Let's see what I do wrong here. I have a different thing pulled up here. So these are a little complex, guys, so it takes a little bit to get this right. Once we get it right, we'll be able to just take this and plug it into our application. i.url. Okay, we're getting closer. So we're only getting this limit 1. Not what we want. It's really hard to do. It's funny that we're doing this tonight because it's really difficult to do these types of joins. So bear with me here. Oh man. Let's try it. This is some weird MySQL. I think I'm on MySQL 8. This isn't working because of that, I think. Or I might just be dumb again, but... Alright, we're just gonna have to... Yeah, that group by Arthur, the group by products.id is not working for me. We can get rid of the subquery and all that, but the join product images let's see, you're saying do order by first, which sort by product images dots or pi.sort, and then group by products.id. For some reason that is not working for me. Let's see here. Yeah, I did try that really quickly. You might not have seen that. I did jump over to products.id. The reason I tried products_id is because that exists inside the product images table. I seriously think that this issue is because I'm using MySQL 8. I seriously think that's the problem here. I think this would probably work on MySQL 5.7 or 5.6. Let me just double check here. Products.star, pi.url is URL, pi.sort, from products, join where 0, order by, pi.sort, group by products.images. Let's see if I can get any group by to work. SQL mode only full group by. SQL mode let's try to run this command real quick. I don't think you guys are going to have this problem. Again, I think this is because I'm using a stupid version of MySQL or something. Products. There we go. Yeah, this has to be because of the MySQL version I'm using. So I had to set this global thing here. Now it works without having that. So that was just a setting in my MySQL for some reason that it wasn't working. Alright, so let's try to add back in the order by to try to fix the randomization of this. So we're going to say order by pi.sort. Alright, well we have, let's see. Yeah, as I suspect, it's grabbing. This works, but the only thing is it's grabbing the last image of each one, or maybe even a random, which is even worse. So I don't know why this order by is not working here now. It's awesome. Order by group by. Oh, it has to go after, I guess. Interesting. All right, so let's try that. Order by pi.sort. All right, that kind of worked. But actually what it's doing, it's not really working. This order by, when you do it afterwards, is actually sorting the result set after it's already doing it. So I think what we're going to have to do in this situation is we're going to take this, and I'm just going to, because I know what to expect here, I'm just going to say pi dot sort is equal to 0. All right, so now we have a query that's working. I'm going to try to go ahead and add this back in, pi.url as URL. All right, that works. So that's what I ultimately want. This is our, I know it took a little bit, but this is actually the query that we want. So I'm going to copy this now. And now we go to our code. And in our featured products here, we're going to actually, we'll do SQL is equal, oops. All right. All right. So instead of using our find method, we're going to have to use another method, and we're going to call going to call query directly. So we're going to do self actually we're going to do dang it. So we're getting into some weirdness here where we have our database. All right. I think it's gonna work. What I want to do here is I want to do an H dump and die self. This is going to be a problem because there's no reference to. This is so annoying because. What we're going to have to do is make this not static. And then here in the home controller, we're going to have to say, I'm just going to say P model equal new products. And then products is going to equal P model featured products. Because now what I can do is we're just going to run products is equal to this DB, or you know what, this query, and then we're going to pass in SQL, and then we're going to return products for now. We might do some other processing, that's why I'm doing this on a separate line. All right, here we go. And then the last thing we need to do is actually return results. All right, so here we are. This is the end result that we wanted. We have 3 objects. Yeah, I could have used get DB instance, but I wanted it to not have to pass the table because I was already in that model. So we just instantiated it. It's not a big deal. All right, so now we have these 3 objects. So let's go ahead and use those now. And in fact, we could just do this. Just kind of clean this up a little bit. See if there's anything that we wanted to bind here. We're not getting anything from user input, so I don't think we need to bind anything there. So now we're to the point where we have these products and we want to pass those down to the view. So we say this view products is equal to products. I'm going to leave that on separate lines, even though I know we can put that on the same line, because we may want to do some further processing on that data at some point soon. So in the index now, we remember way back when we added this card for each one. So what we want to do now is we actually want to do a for loop here, or a for each loop. So we're going to say PHP for each, and we're going to say for each this products as product. All right, and then we're going to jump out of that right here. We'll say end for each. Okay, go ahead and indent all that correctly. So now let's refresh. Reach this products as product. This view products. Oops. All right, let me check something here. PHP dump this products. Sure, I got a typo somewhere here. And I've somehow lost this. It's returning the entire model there. There we go. We are in better shape. All right, so now that our tour has kept me on point here, let's go and get rid of this var dump. Refresh. So now we have 3 cards, which is what we want, because this is getting everything there. Yeah, I know we're gonna have to do some stuff like brand and stuff like that. I'm not worried about that just yet. That's gonna be a super easy join, not difficult at all like this last join. But so now inside this for each, let's start with this image source. And here what we want to do is we're going to actually echo out product URL. And in fact, what we want to do is we want to echo out our project root and then concatenate on that URL. Okay, so now we have our images correct. So these are our main images there. The next thing that we want to do is replace this with the title. At some point that's going to be a link. For now, all we need to do here is say product name. Refresh. So now we have the correct product name. All right, and then just like our tour said, we need the brand, which is going to be really easy. So all we need to do here in brand is we just need to add another join, and we're going to join brands. And right here, we're just going to get brands.name as brand. Yeah, I think that's good. So we're going to join brands on, and then now this is going to be products.brand ID is equal to brands.id. So now Just make sure we don't have any errors there. So now what we can do is back on our index page, let's just put our brand here underneath this. So we're just gonna put p tag here for now, and we will do product brand. And like on, they had buy like that on theirs. So Agricola by Mayfair Games, Splendor by Asmodee. So there we go. We have our name, we have our brand, we have our image. So that's all the crazy joins that we have to do. Now we need to like start putting in like our prices and stuff like that, and this is going to be a link to add it to the shopping cart. And what I want to do is create this to be a link for getting to the details page as well as the image, and maybe we'll put even one more link. First thing that I want to do though is let's see what we have. What we could do is in our description, right, let's see. Let's look at our application. We have our lib, utilities. I'm somewhat tempted to add a helper file for string helpers because we're going to need like a toMoney type function or whatever. But at any rate, let's just go ahead and just quickly, here we're going to add our price tag. And this is going to be equal to product I'm so JavaScript in my mind. Price. That might look a little funky right now, but we'll fix that up. Okay, and then they had, if you looked on Amazon, they had the list price next to it scratched out. So we'll do the same thing, I think. So let's do a space and a span tag here. And then here, this is going to be product list price, I think it was. And then let's give this a class equal to list price. And then also, let's give this a class equal to products brand. I'm not sure I'm going to put the large description here. I think we're going to save the large description for the details page. Maybe we'll put it here but truncate it. I'm just not sure. That truncation is not going to work great because of it could be HTML. So I don't know what I'm going to do with that yet. So we're not going to put it yet. So let's go ahead now, and I'm going to open up our CSS here. And we had this custom CSS. So I'm going to add a few of our styles here. Let me just go ahead and split this right. I don't need a ton of room. And we had, what I want to do is start with our products wrapper. And this products wrapper, what I want to do is say, hey, make this thing display flex, and then let's flex wrap, set it to wrap, and then let's see. So it wasn't list price. Let me look at the database, see what that was. Products. It's just list. So I put list price. So oops, I forgot what that property was called. So I'm just gonna put list. I'll take away our errors here, and then I'm gonna reload. All right. So now we have these cards, and we just need to start styling these up a little bit. So we got products wrapper, and then what I want to do here is we're going to say products wrapper, and inside here we're looking for our card, and we're going to set this to what I want to do here is just give it a margin, and let's just give these things do 0 at top, and then we'll do right 12 and bottom 12, and then left, right, bottom, left, yeah. And then we'll also, in this products wrapper, we'll go ahead and give this a padding of 12 pixels, and then here what we'll do is we'll say products wrapper card nth last child, and here we'll just say margin. Well, you know what, let's not do that. Instead, take away this padding. Let's just all around set this to 6 pixels and see how that looks. Okay. The next thing I want to do is I'm going to set the width of these things to I want it to be less than 300 pixels. So let's try 275 pixels, and that way it works better with mobile devices. Let's see. Okay. Now, we could also do something like justify content. We can do space around. Something like that. Now this, I only have 3 products, so it looks a little bit weird. So the thing is like I want to make sure, you know, this is going to look good with a lot of products. So we'll add more products later, but I want to make sure that Steve says add a semicolon to card wrapper. Let's see, what was he talking about here? Card wrapper. What did I miss? want to get rid of this style there. I want to control the width myself. So now it's 275 pixels. The next thing I want to do is these images, the cards are all different heights because of the images. And so what I think we should do there is set the image height to be the same. So let's look at, let me inspect this image here, and I want to look at this. So let's just set these to, I don't know, let's try 175 pixels first. So what we need to do is add a style for that. So I'm going to say products wrapper card, and then the image is going to be .card image top, and we're going to give this height will be 100, you know what, let's just do 200 pixels. Width auto, and then see what that does. I don't know what styles Bootstrap's putting on there. So they do 100%. So yeah, so we're gonna Steve Zeus, we will use Photorama inside our details page. I don't want to load Photorama on this page because I don't know how many images are going to be on here yet. And I'm only displaying one image. So I think it's overkill to use Photorama here. I think we just need to get the style set right on this. And then we'll use a slideshow with Photorama in the details page once they click into it. All right, so that's that. Let's see. Let me close some of these tabs out. I think what we're going to need is one of the, whoops, I closed Amazon on accident. Let's do content image fill. So I don't know if this is going to be compatible with the way Bootstrap did their thing. So actually, let me look here. See if they had any sort of we're just going to see if they had any sort of like setup already built in. So the way Bootstrap is doing these cards, inspect this real quick. It's just an image, so we're not going to be able to use the content fill thing. We could add an extra div around it though. Well, I know, Arthur. I just want to make it look decent real quick. This is only gonna take a few seconds. So let's and if it doesn't take a few seconds, you know I'll stop and do something else. But um yeah. All right. Let's try this object fit cover. Nah. Object fit cover. Let's try that. We might have to add a surrounding div to make that work though. Object fit cover. All right, so that's better. That's actually keeping it now within the limits. It doesn't look great with that Splendor one. So I guess we can go back and we could try something like that's not bad. That's not bad at all. All right. So, in the interest of saving time, I'm not going to spend tons and tons and tons and tons of time on styling, but we do want to go ahead and do a few things here. So now let's see, this jumps down. Pow. Okay. Let me jump out of this mobile view here. Alrighty then. I'm gonna make this list price strike that out and make it a little lighter in color. So let's just rip off Amazon real quick, since they spend all their time. Let's see. Strategy board games. Whoa. Oops. Let's inspect that real quick. $555 on their color. And let's see. Change this to lower here. All right. So that we called that class we find it here, list price. And with list price, we're going to do a font color. They did 555. And we'll do font size, and we'll make it a little smaller, I think. We'll say 12 pixels. And then text decoration. Let's do line through. All right. And the thing is yeah, I just want to control that with CSS. So anyways, let's see, did it not pick up that font color? Let's see. Whoa, because I am really dumb. I think too many things all at one time. So let's try yeah, I like that better. So let's change that, and then I'm not gonna spend too much time on this, guys, I promise. I just want to get something going here for this page, and we don't have a bunch of time to start anything else. All right, so we have that. The next thing we want to do is let's go ahead and generate those links to send them to the details page. So that's going to right here in this H5. Let's just add a link here. All right, and what we want to do is we're gonna echo out product root. Okay. Next thing that we want to do is we want to tell it, hey, I want to go to products details, and then we need the ID of the product. So product ID. All right. All right. Okay, so now these links go to products details 4. All right, so that's the products controller. They don't have access for this. So I need to go ahead and, you know, add that stuff in, but we're not really to that point yet. I was just testing that those links are going to look correct, and that's the way I wanted them. The next thing I want to do is I want to make sure that those images, while we're here, and we just got 15 minutes left, I want to make sure those images have the link on them as well, and also do the alt tags, which is not a big deal because I just want to put the product name there. So right here, where it's just got a dot 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 for the alt tags, we're just going to echo out product name, just like that. Okay, next up, let me close the CSS for now. The next thing we want to do here is wrap that in an image or an anchor tag here. I'm just going to copy this here. Could set that up as a variable. All right. So since we wrapped that, that kind of screwed up our CSS. Let's see. All right. Well, I don't want to mess with that right now, so I'm going to remove that because I don't feel like messing with all that CSS at the moment. So for now, we're just going to leave that image, and then we'll put a couple links to it so they can click on the name. We'll have like view details or something as well. Let's take a look back real quick and see if there's anything quick we can add from Amazon. So they had, oh, shipping. That's another thing we can think. Andrea said, thanks for your Learn to Build an MVC Framework from Scratch course. You're very welcome. Thank you for going through the course. So let's go ahead and do the shipping. And the thing is in our database, we want to have the ability for them to choose $0 for shipping, and we'll want that to show free shipping if it does. That's not a big issue, but so let's do this. Let's do another p tag here. Yeah. Maybe we'll give it card text, see what that looks like. And then what we want to do is let's just echo out shipping. Okay, and we don't have that, so let's set that up right here. We can skip down here, and we're going to say shipping is equal to, we want to know if this product shipping is equal to 0.00, then we're going to say we're going to return free shipping. Else, we're going to return a $sign along with product.shipping. Not dot. I'm so used to JavaScript. I'm sorry. Shipping. All right. So let's take a look at that. And we actually probably want to do something like this, where we say shipping space. There we go. Shipping $9.99. So let's go to the database now and just test that. Let's make Catan free shipping. So we'll do 0 there. And if we refresh now, it says free shipping. Okay. So we have free shipping or the price of the shipping. We have our list price. Our list price really should also be a ternary operator because they may not have put anything in the list price. So let's go ahead and do that. Let's say list is equal to product list, and we'll just say not empty. So if it's not empty, we're just going to return we'll return that and concatenate on product list. Else, we're just going to return an empty string. And then we're going to replace all of this right here with just our list variable. Okay. That should all still work. But if we go in our database now and let's say Catan doesn't have anything for list, so we'll just put 0 there. There we go. Now it doesn't show. I did that backwards though. I did my logic backwards. There we are. All right, so I'm just gonna probably leave it there, I think. We don't have time to start building out the shopping cart tonight. The next video, what I hope to get done is the product details page, which will be super quick and easy. We won't have to do any crazy joins at all. We will probably need to go through and start working on, like later on we get a lot of products, we're gonna have to start talking a little bit more about pagination and things like that, and also add some filters so that we can filter these products and search for them. And then, but anyways, in the next video hopefully we'll do our product details page and start the ability to add these to the shopping cart. And then I want to start building out kind of what our shopping cart is going to look like, and start setting ourselves up for the ability to actually pay for these things. Once we have that, then we can add as much fluff and extra features as you guys have interest and continue to work on the project. We will just keep adding new stuff until we get to a reasonable level, and then we'll kind of just play it by ear there. But now if we go back to the admin area and go to our products and just kind of like turn some of these featured things off and then we'll go back to visit site, you can see now that it doesn't show on the home page because it's not featured product anymore. And so that's what we want to be able to do. So I'm going to make them all featured just for now. And they're back. So we'll need to do, I think what we could do too, and it'll even make that query even crazier, but we need to like maybe order these in some sort of random fashion so that we don't end up with the same products all the time. So Denise asked, what if they're buying more than one product? And asking that because of shipping. So this system, okay, so what generally happens with shipping, if you're building like a real e-commerce site and you really want an accurate thing with shipping, and I'm not going to do this because we're all in different places, but most of the time what you would do is connect to some sort of API with your local shipping places. So for example, I know in the United States we have the United States Postal Service or UPS or FedEx and stuff like that. And what would happen is they actually have web APIs where instead of uploading a shipping price, you would have to upload like your product dimensions and also the weight when you're entering the products, and it would make an API call, and then when the user would actually put in their zip code or their postal code, it would populate a shipping based upon the dimensions and the weight of the product through an API. So it would be done dynamically. In this situation, what we're doing is we're allowing users, kind of like how you would do on eBay, the ability to set their own shipping cost on this so that they can be sure that they're covering shipping. And the thing is if what we will do in the shopping cart with our product here that we're building is it's simply just going to add all that shipping together into a big shipping price. I think that's the safest thing for us to do since we're all from different countries, and I really don't want to go down a path of like trying to build out some big API for shipping. Some e-commerce places do anyway is they just have all free shipping, and then the shipping is just kind of built into the cost of the product. But Denise says, thank you so much. Started assimilating everything line by line. God bless you so much for changing my life and giving me hope, and the Lord be with you. You're very welcome. Thank you for your kind words. I can't tell you how far it goes in my life to hear encouragement from you guys, and just to know that you guys are putting this stuff to good use, and you're not just, here. I just want to say something for a couple of minutes. I want to be careful about how I say this because there's so many of you out there, and we all have different beliefs and everything. But we have the tendency in countries like where I live, and I'm guilty of this as well. Living in a first world country and having the privilege that I have to live in a first world country, sometimes we take knowledge for granted, and sometimes we take our opportunities for granted. We don't make full use of those, and we start complaining about little things in our lives that really aren't that big of an issue, and we stop looking at big picture stuff. And so there's nothing more, how should I say, unmotivating for me than when I'm dealing with an entitled person who thinks they know everything, and they just are ungrateful. Basically, they might tell me that I suck at coding or whatever they say, basically this is a waste of time, or they just sit there learning this stuff and never do anything with it. And it's a big encouragement for me, especially for you guys who maybe don't live in an area with as much I don't know, just abundance, that you guys are actually doing something to better your lives and better the people around you. I feel like I'm giving something back and making the world a better place. And I don't want to discount everyone who is in a first world country. I'm not talking bad to you. I'm just saying be careful, because if you do, and I do this too, if you live in an area where things are just easy, I mean, it's easy to get water, it's easy to get food. I'm fat. Like I don't go and miss meals in a day. I have 3 meals every single day of my life. And we miss that sometimes, and we forget how blessed we are with that. And so if you're blessed, bless others. God doesn't give us, and I'm sorry if you don't believe in God, but God doesn't give us blessings to hoard and to hold to ourselves. He blesses us so that we bless those around us. I'm very, very thankful for you guys for when you do that, and for when you remind me of those things. And so thank you guys all so much for everything that you do. Thank you for staying up late, for getting up early, for doing everything you can do to make your lives better. That's the way that you guys can pay me back, is make your lives better. My life is fine. My life's perfect. No, it's not perfect, but my life, I can't complain. I got wife and kids, and I have a roof over my head. I have a car. I have a TV, and I have a job. And that can all change, and I could die tomorrow. But I want to be grateful for what I have while I'm here, and I encourage you guys to do the same. And I know I don't even have to say that to you guys, because you guys are the ones grinding. You're the ones out there. But try to drag some people around you who are just kind of demoralized along with you, and say, come on, you can do this. Life's not all that bad. But anyway, I'm done with my soapbox, but basically I just want to tell you guys thank you. Have a wonderful night. I hope you guys got something out of tonight. I hope you learned a little something, and I hope it blesses you. So with that, you guys, peace out. I will see you next week, Lord willing. Let me see if I can turn this thing off here. See you guys later.